Hello, I am being joined by Paula Robbins of the Sunlit Pathways today. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting on.
Sure.
So, Sunlit Pathways, that is in Colorado, correct?
It's international. We work mostly globally online.
Okay, just based out of Colorado.
Yeah, I am based in Colorado, but there's several other practitioners in other locations.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't realize that there was more. So how large is it?
So there are six of us, and predominantly we do one of three pathways. So there's one-on-one sessions, there are group sessions, and there are a lot of digital offerings as far as meditations, courses, things of that nature. And on the one-on-one sessions, there are six different practitioners. Predominantly, there is cellular release therapy, which is a hypnotherapy model. We have an Akashic Records reader. We have a light language healer. So there's some other offerings aside from hypnotherapy as well.
Oh, okay. That's very great to know. Do you, well, first of all, what does a typical day look like for you?
Oh, geez. So currently, my client load's really heavy. So I am doing about 4 to 5 sessions each day. My sessions are about 90 minutes, and I predominantly focus on trauma release through the cellular release therapy mode. But I also have a membership. So there's a lot of time spent just doing the typical admin stuff. I reach out and send an update or an announcement to my members. I might create a video for them. I might schedule an event online and notify them of that or on Meetup. There is, of course, all the admin of accounting and editing and all of the stuff that goes with that. But it's a full day every day, and I'm pretty rewarded by kind of the way I get to contribute in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure, and see improvement and help that you're giving people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just recently finished my first book. So that is kind of in the final stages before print. That'll be launching in October. I'm really excited about that. That's been a significant endeavor this last year.
Oh, amazing. What is it called?
It's called Hitchhiking into Recovery. This is the first printed manuscript. I'm kind of excited about that. It's about my journey of recovery through addiction and alcoholism. I got picked up hitchhiking 1988, and I have been sober ever since.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so I mean it was a positive hitchhiking experience or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the heart of my alcoholism and drug addiction, I was definitely hitchhiking all the time. And gratefully, I never got in the wrong car. This particular ride was one of the last times I ever hitchhiked. And it was somebody that was just a really good human being who I'm still in touch with and, well, recently reconnected with that just changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my life in a really big way.
oh wow. That sounds like kind of a podcast in itself
Very true.
of that story. Do you feel that there's how do I word this? Do you feel that trauma is more common or is it just being talked about more today, like in present time?
I think it's being more normalized. I think that it is being talked about more in the present day, that people are willing to, one, understand what is trauma in my own experience, but they're also, society is acknowledging that there has been trauma for, centuries, millennia. It just was not treated. It wasn't acknowledged. It was, something that wasn't handled very well. I think it's being handled a lot better now.
Can you so even for me, because I've kind of had a lot of my own, I guess, preconceived notions of trauma and I've never been personally ever been into any therapy for trauma or anything, so I don't know a ton about it, but I guess how is that defined?
Great question. So, what one person might consider to be traumatic, another person might consider just to be a tough experience. What someone thinks is a tough experience might be a troubling time to somebody. I call it a T list. So if it is traumatic, if it was a tough time, if it was a troubling experience, if it still triggers, if it's any of these T's, it's very likely some degree of trauma.
Okay, so if it triggers some emotional response or within the person, then it possibly could be.
Yeah, and to take that even deeper, I would define what a trigger is. And a trigger is an activation of a cellular memory. So the cells in our body are like a vault. Everything that we have ever experienced in our own embodiment from this moment all the way through our gestation, but also for those who believe in past life, there is soul memory. But more importantly, there's also DNA memory. So a lot of the cellular memory of our parents or grandparents or greats is also in our DNA, cellular memory. So some of the inherited emotions, traits, kind of behavioral patterns come from the cellular memory of our elders. And what that looks like is when we have a emotional event, we have a chemical reaction. Our body's an entire pharmacy. So every emotion can create a chemical reaction. There's about 200 neural peptides or hormones that release with any emotion. So there's a chemical cocktail, depending upon the degree of emotion. Higher emotion, higher cocktail. And then our cells recreate themselves every 24 hours. So some of these rooted, vaulted, locked in memories come from an experience way back that is still recreating itself. So when a similar energy or emotion hits us, it activates a trigger to that same old cellular memory. So that is where a trigger is also likely a trauma or troubling
Okay.
time or tough experience. I mean, it really is a matter of semantics, but it's language that feels the most comfortable to the person.
Yeah. See, yeah, I find all this very interesting, especially where I don't know a ton about it. Obviously, I know people that have had trauma, and I've wondered. I had a therapist tell me one time that I don't know that it's the case or not, but I I've noticed through and I guess let me get your opinion on this. I've noticed through relationships that I've had, and I've had a couple bad ones. And I've noticed that, like 6 months ago, I started dating somebody, and some of the same behaviors were there. And I noticed what it does is it starts causing me a lot of anxiety, right? Like just out of nowhere. And I wondered if is maybe a trigger, and
Sure, sure. I mean, when you've got a stack of events that are similar, but they were all difficult, and now here's an emotion that correlates to this same stack, you're going to trigger all of that memory right into the present day. So it's not just the present moment that you're experiencing the moment now, plus every other similar emotional event. So it gets kind of heavy when there's all of them kind of stacked in like that.
yeah, that's just been a recent realization for me, and a question of kind of what do I need to do with that? I think I need to do something with it.
Well, there's several ways to address, cellular release therapy is the modality, of course, that I promote and that I am a big fan of because I'm a client of it as well as a practitioner. I've been a practitioner of cellular release therapy for 18 years. So it's something that I have a lot of faith in because so much change, not only in my psyche, but in many of the people that I have worked with over the years. What I can say to simplify your, kind of query here is be in the moment. If you can step away from everything that's past, that's triggering or being reminded, what's happening in the now? Does this warrant this reaction or response? Right? What's really going on here? Or is it reminding me of something that was difficult that happened in the past? The simple answer is be present. The difficult answer is, can I be present without all of this other stuff surfacing and stirring?
Okay. So I'm assuming there's a way to I guess this is part of your process, is disconnecting from that.
That is the modality of cellular release therapy. I mean, yes, that is what I do. There are other ways to address cellular memory by creating new cellular memory, which kind of counters the energy and starts creating positive chemistry, positive correlation. But cellular release therapy in its own right is a very unique skill set in hypnotherapy. There's not a ton of us out there, but it's a really effective model. And when I started this work 18 years ago, there really wasn't much information out there about what is cellular memory. But if you were to look it up today and just kind of Google what is cellular memory, there's numerous studies, there's numerous articles, there's so many different healers of different types of cellular healing. It's fascinating how much credibility it's gained, both scientifically and theoretically, over the last couple of decades.
Wow, yeah, I'm gonna have to go read more about it. Is there a lot of information about it online, or not
There
so
is
much?
much more than there used to be. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of information. It's pretty easy to find. If you just Google the word cellular memory, what is cellular memory? It'll pretty much define what I just explained, but there's a lot out there
Okay. Yeah,
in
it's
comparison to 20 years ago.
right. Yeah, I would definitely like to learn more about it. What major shifts are you seeing in this industry right now, just in your general, not necessarily that specific form of treatment, but just in general?
Well, it's similar to what you kind of just spoke to, like, what can I do? And I think that people are taking more ownership of different things that they can research, different actions they can take, different just ways of being to improve their own experience. You know, more and more people are stepping onto the path of lifestyle changes to step away from the triggers, to step away from feeling victimized or wounded or traumatized, unhealthy. You know, people are really taking charge of their own well being, you know, body, mind, and spirit. It's not just, you know, I'm going to walk more or I'm going to drink more water. They're also meditating and stepping into more divinity, and they are looking at, what do I eat that affects my mental health and my emotional chemistry. So I think people are just taking more charge. They're doing their homework.
Yeah, that makes sense. How has that impacted your business?
You know, I think honestly, mostly positively. I mean, when people start looking at, what do I need to address, they recognize that some of that may include deeper healing work. And the work that I do is somewhat intense. I mean, we're digging into the deeper shadows and into the inner mind. And so it's intense emotional work, but it's incredibly life changing. For those who start digging around to address, well, what's going on with me that I can't let this go from back here? And then they find, you know, a modality like, what if I have cellular release therapy and there's a facilitator who's asking my subconscious permission, can you let this go? That's a completely different game than someone saying to you, hey, Jared, you got to let it go. Hey, Jared, you got to let it go. And probably in your own mind, even, you know, why can't I let this go? Why can't I just get over it? It was 10 years ago. Well, when somebody understands their cellular memory and they recognize they can't just let it go, they might need some professional support. That's where this kind of a modality comes in. But it also is them walking more, thinking more positively, making more time for mindfulness like meditation or prayer. So, you know, if they want the deeper healing, they find the modalities that are right for them, but they're also doing the exterior work in between the deeper work type sessions.
Okay. So what is involved in starting the process?
For me, they need to come into the initial consultation. So the intake session is typically like 30, 45 minutes, and we'll talk more about their background. We'll talk about what are some things they can do on their own. I like to give people a lot of education in that conversation of tips and tricks they should be doing on their own that are very supportive. I will then explain to them, if they want to go forward with me, Here's the 3 stages of work that I take people through. And I tell them to sleep on it, sit with it. Do you want to try some of these things on your own, or do you want to work with me too, so that you're really, making some transformative life change? But I want them to choose both and have, options to be aware of what can you do on your own. I want people to feel empowered.
Okay. So you've been doing this since 2007, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is that when you started your business?
That is when
Or
I started. Yes, I changed careers. I turned 40 in 2007, so it was kind of like a midlife awakening. I had been in corporate America in the staffing and recruiting industry for 16 years prior to knowing it was time to change careers. So I changed careers and became a hypnotherapist and metaphysician in 2007. Yes.
Okay. So a little more on that topic as far as your business goes and just entrepreneurship in general. What's working well for you right now and what's been frustrating?
I think frustrating is time management. I'll start there because I'm always diving into some rabbit hole of I want to do this and I want to help people this way and I'm going to do that. So time management has probably been my biggest struggle. But what's working well is that I know that my heart of service, my intention to help people is pure and it's right. And I'm supported by the universe that way. I mean, I don't advertise, I don't market. I get a lot of referrals and I've been getting referrals for a long time. And I've had some really wonderful, successful partnerships. I'm always looking at different modalities that complement the work I do and finding ways to partner with those people. So that's been really beneficial in that way too. I mean, it's for me, it's kind of a mixed bag of partnerships and endeavors that work well.
Okay. Out of those, which metrics are you focused on improving?
I'm transitioning a little bit this year since I just finished the book. I'm moving into more work as an author. I want to focus on my membership. I want to do more paid speaking and I want to hold some retreats. So a little bit more one to many than as much one on one over the course of this next year, 2 years is kind of the way that I'm moving.
Okay. Yeah, the book, I'm sure, sounds like a big shift in your life and direction.
It is. It really is. But it's intimidating and exciting and all of the things.
I'm sure that sounds like a long project, a book.
It is. It is. It's an intense project. I mean, it's been incredibly educational. I've learned so much, but it's certainly a lot of work and a lot of intellectual and mental energy.
I can imagine it's complex. Where do you want to be 6 or 12 months from now?
I'm hoping, within this next 6 to 12 months that I've held a few retreats, that I've been able to move more into the professional speaking. I've done a lot of speaking for free over the years, but more on the professional level. I'm hoping to be started on my second book, so I'm hoping to
Nice.
grow my membership and really kind of foster some real growth for my members too.
Okay. Those are all great goals. If you could solve one major challenge today, what would it be?
Helping people break away from fear and learning to trust life more.
The fear is a huge problem. I read one time that it was the number one reason of why people don't do what they want to do or have so many failures or just hold them back in general, right? Like,
Yeah, that's been my experience. I mean, I've faced down a lot of fears, especially in these last couple of decades, and I have a lot more freedom and a lot more just grace in the way that I trust life. And I want to share in that. I want people to know you can trust life. And, the world is a scary place right now. There's no question that there are things that are threatening. But the more energy we give them, the more we focus on them, the less we live.
so as far as within your business, if you could solve one major challenge, what would it be?
Helping people deepen their divine connection, learning their inner world and what's really available, what they're capable of if they do.
Do you think that that's a difficult process?
No, no. It requires consistency and commitment, but it's not difficult.
What, on average, what do you think what has been your experience time wise that somebody can achieve that?
5 days.
Really? That
Yeah, and I
I was
feel
like,
like if somebody were to truly commit to an inner quiet time, meditation, prayer, divine alignment every day, and really be dedicated to the intention within 5 days, if they did it every single day, that first 5 days, they're going to notice the shift in how they're showing up. They're going to be responding more than reacting. They're going to notice their instinct and intuition's a little sharper. They're going to feel a little bit more grace and love and trust. So, I mean, of course, it depends on how they utilize that divine alignment time. Divinity is a component that's required, but if they do that, there's going to be a pretty dramatic shift, and it's going to be, I think, pretty fast.
and you teach how to do this.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, that's very interesting as well. I thought you were going to say weeks or months of somebody achieving that.
I think for a lot of people, it is weeks and months because they're not committed. I've been doing it, yeah, I pray sometimes. I pray in the shower. It was my story too. I'll pray in the car. I'll meditate once a week. When I started the commitment of daily quiet time is what I call it, it was 24 years ago. And I had a new spiritual mentor, and it was a big requirement of hers. And I started doing it every day. I made it a ritual. Like I lit the candle, I read the little book, I closed my eyes, I set a timer. And I was really committed. And on the fifth day, I was kind of blown away at how much changed for me. And then, of course, it was kind of wonky in the commitment. But when I really got steady in the commitment, it was incredible. And it was very life changing. The most life changing practice I've ever committed to, by far.
Really?
Oh, by far. I mean, it was shortly after that, I changed careers. I moved into just a deeper degree of intuitive knowing. Wild. It's been a very, very good ride. So of course, it's kind of where the message comes from. I did it, so come on, do it with me.
What about people that, for example, somebody that has been really focused on their work for years and that's been kind of their primary focus and they've kind of neglected or had a huge lack of balance in everything else? Is that something you can assist with as far as helping people become more balanced and not just live in one zone of, like, how some people say there's core four, like business, mind, body, and spirit, and that you should have balance in all those. But is that something that you ever see or deal with?
All the time. I mean, that's an everyday conversation in my world. And my simple answer is that metaphysics in general is what's happening within is going to be reflected throughout. So if we start doing our inner work, whether that's daily quiet time and aligning divinely, or that is getting more into therapeutic type work and whatever type of therapy feels right to you, whether that is moving more into connecting with nature and knowing that helps your inner mind, inner world, your soul. When people start feeding their inner life, their inner world, their soul, the outer world really does smooth out. The balance, the business, it's wild what will happen to smooth it out. And it's been it's a great question because it's been one of my personal struggles is to really focus on balance. As I mentioned already, time management's a challenge. And the biggest shift for me with that, it went from being like overwhelmed all the time. I need to do this and this and this because I bit off more than I could chew to I'll do this, this, and this. And if it gets done, great. If it doesn't, people are going to be gracious. I'm going to be gracious with myself, but I'm going to do what I can. I'm not killing myself anymore. But that's been a long road in my personal walk of just coming to that place of really, truly kind of trusting, okay, well, with it, sister, just keep going.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably a challenge, or has been for most, especially people that are in the entrepreneur world,
Mm-hmm.
right? I asked somebody one time, it was actually a podcast that I did years ago, and It was he's a big real estate guy and multimillionaire, and I asked him, how do people achieve balance, and he just said you don't. He said it's impossible. He's like, you do the best job that you can, and basically just you don't strive for perfection. And a lot of people are don't think they've achieved balance unless it's perfect, I guess is
Right.
pretty much what he was saying. So,
I completely agree with him too. And I think that what happens is you just become more accepting of the what is and more capable of being in the moment than this constant, well, I didn't get this done and I got to finish that and I got to get there and I got to get there and I got to get there. There is no there. There is no there. We don't, there's no graduation, there's no death, it's over. There's this constant, steady up leveling evolution. Sometimes it's like this, up and down, but it's growth, it's learning, it's how we continue to move forward. And there's not a perfect balance, but we do get more accepting of okay, this is what I can do in the right now. This is what I will accomplish in the right now. And this kind of has to be good enough because this is the best I can do.
yeah, I guess like progress, not perfection.
Amen. Yeah.
Do you think that what we just described as far as your main, if you could solve one major challenge, do you think that's an industry wide issue, or do you think that's more unique to you?
Can you reframe that? What do you mean?
Well, you talked about, the main major challenge that you would want to fix would be, helping people awaken and realize, their path or purpose and their, I don't remember the word you used for it exactly, but uh, do you think that is an industry wide issue?
Yes, and it's about connection. And I think that practitioners, coaches alike, when we do our work and we connect within and we face our shadows and do all the stuff we're supposed to do, this is where we have the capacity to help others do the same. But I do believe that industry wide, the majority of people in the wellness industry are wanting to be well. And I think the majority of people in the wellness industry want to have that deeper inner connection with their intuition, with their higher self, with their inner world, in whatever path is right for them, so that they can be more impactful and effective in helping others. But because there is no there, we're always trying to figure out more. What more do I need to do? And sometimes that's not the answer. Sometimes it's just, how about getting present and being in the now and acknowledging how far you've already come? That's really good.
Okay. Well, perfect. I think that was all a lot of great information. Mm, I definitely thank you for sharing all of your insights.
Sure.
What do you have anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
I'm really appreciative of you having me here. This is a great conversation and not one that I have on a lot of the podcasts where I guest. So I appreciate that you're kind of open to the conversation about the inner work and about divine alignment and connection and balance and all of the things, because I think they're really important.
Well, I won't lie. Some of that is selfish, right? Because well, number one, I'm just a very curious person, but two, I've been wondering while we've been talking I wonder if she could help me with some of these things. So that's been part of my curiosity as well.
Well, I'd be honored. And I really appreciate, you taking the time to chat with me and just kind of share my message out there in the world. I am grateful.
No, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thanks.